Alright, single variable inequality. Sorry about that. So, let's take a look at these first ones. So now remember, the trick with graphing inequalities in one variable. When you've got these guys, notice they have the line underneath. That means equal to. Just like we talked in class, that's inclusive. Inclusive means it includes the number in the answer. So the way you show that is you draw a dot, a filled in dot at the number. So that would be a -2. That would be a 4. Then we look and see what's the variable saying. Well, is this variable bigger or smaller? To the right is bigger, to the left is smaller. So, n is greater than or equal to -2, greater meaning bigger, so you shade in all the possible answers, which is every answer above -2, including it. Okay, look at 3. We've got x is greater than or equal to 4. So once again, you shade to the right because it's bigger than it. Now these two, these ones are exclusive. They're not inclusive, so the answer isn't part of it. So n is less than -5. We draw a hollow circle because -5 is like the border. Okay, and anything n is less than is smaller. Anything smaller than -5 is an answer, but -5 isn't. Same with 4. That +5 isn't part of the answer, but x is smaller because it's less than. So all these numbers to the left of 5 are possibilities till you get to infinity. Okay, so that tells you what to do. So the direction tells you if it's bigger, greater than, or less than. The number and the circle, whether it's closed or open, tells you if it has the equal to. So 5. We've got a closed circle at 6. So we've got this number 6. We've got a variable. We're shading to the left. That means the variable is smaller. It's a closed circle, so it's equal to. Okay, number 6, open circle at -2. It's going to the left. So it's smaller. The variable is smaller, but not equal to, because -2 isn't included. Number 7, you've got 0. Okay, our variable is going to the right. That means it's bigger, so x is greater than, filled in circle, closed circle, greater than or equal to. Number 8, we've got -2, goes to the right, so x is greater than -2. Okay, those are the simple ones. Now for the rest, you're going to actually have to solve the equation before you deal with it. So, the thing to remember when you're solving inequalities, we'll pretend I wrote the rest of it, you treat like an equal sign, like an equation, except when you multiply or divide by a negative. Okay, so that means the number that I actually multiply to both sides or divide to both sides is negative. So let's take a look at number 10. So we've got 9 plus n divided by -15 is less than 8. So we start out by subtracting 9 from both sides. We're subtracting, so it doesn't change anything. So we get n equals -15. It's less than 8 minus 9 is -1. Now we're multiplying by a -15. Because we're multiplying by a -15, we've got to flip the sign, is often the term used, but you've got to change the direction of your inequality. The reason for that, this was a negative. Multiplying by a negative is going to change it to a positive number. Positive number is on the completely opposite side of 0. So because it's on the opposite side, you have to reflect that in your answer by changing the inequality's direction. So n is greater than 15. So at 15, hollow because it's not equal to, we're not including it. N is bigger, so we shade to the right. So there's our answer for that one. Let's clear some workspace here. So, number 12. 1 is less than or equal to n plus 7 over -6. So we times by -6. Now because I'm timesing by the negative, changes our 1 to a negative across the equal sign, so we have to swap that out. Then subtract 7, and we get -13 is greater than or equal to n. So it's greater than or equal to, which means at negative 13, right there, draw in a filled in circle. Then is n bigger or smaller? Well, this says negative 13 is bigger, so we shade to the left because n, that makes n smaller. Okay, this is the same as n is less than or equal to negative 13. Same thing. Okay, you can rewrite it backwards if that helps. If you like to put the variable on the other side, just make sure that your inequality follows it. Okay, the last one here, 14. We've got 11 minus 2n is greater than 5 minus n. So just like with an equal sign, we can move the variables over. When I add a variable with a number in front of it, I've got to do that to another variable. I can't do it to a number. Those cancel, leaving us 11 is greater than 5. Now minus n plus 2n, I've got 1n in the negative, 2 in the positive. It's going to leave me with 1 positive n. Then we subtract both by 5. That gives me n is less than 11 minus 5 is 6. So 6 is greater than n. We draw a circle. N is smaller. 6 is bigger, so I shade to the left. Okay, and so that's all we're doing. Now we may get some more complex equations, but it's the same thing going on. These are on the same side, so I can just combine them together to give me 10v. I don't have to add or subtract one. It's when they're on the opposite sides that we have to add or subtract. And when I add the v's, I only add them to other v's. So negative 11 plus 14v is less than 3. Add 11. I get 14v is less than 14. Divide by 14. And v is less than 1. So open circle because there's no equal to. V is less, smaller. Okay. Now 17 and 19 doing the same exact stuff. Okay, you're treating these inequalities just like equations. You're just solving them piece by piece, just like we do for an equation. So 128 is greater than 8 times x plus 8. So we've got to distribute that 8 to both of them. So we're multiplying by that 8. 8 times x is 8x. Times 8 is 64. Minus 64 from both sides. We get 128 minus 64. That's going to be what? 4 would be, so it would be 64. Cuts it right in half, doesn't it? Then we'll last divide by 8. Those cancel. 64 divided by 8 is 8. We don't change the sign because we divided by a positive number. So, hollow circle at 8. 8 is bigger, so we shade to the left. Okay, number 19. Same process. Same process. So we've got negative 31 plus 7a is greater than or equal to 2 times a minus 8. Distribute that through. Negative 31 plus 7a is greater than or equal to 2 times a, which is 2a, minus 2 times 8, which is 16. So subtract 2a from both sides. That gives us 5a on the left. I could add 31 to both sides. That would give me negative 16 plus 31. It's going to be a positive 15. Divide by 5. And we get a is greater than or equal to 3. So we go 3, closed circle because it's equal to. A is bigger, so we shade to the right. Okay, now the last two, more complex. We just keep doing the same thing. Negative 52 is greater than or equal to. Now distribute that negative 2 through. Negative 2 times 8 is negative 16k. Negative 2 times 2 is negative 4. Plus 8 times k is 8k. 8 times 1 is 8. Now notice I've got two k's here and two regular numbers. They're on the same side, so I can just combine them. Negative 16, positive 8, negative 8k. Negative 4, positive 8, positive 4. Then we subtract 4 from both sides. We get negative 56. It's greater than or equal to negative 8k. Now we're dividing by a negative number. See, we're dividing by this 8, which is negative. So we get k we got to swap that to the other direction, and negative 56 divided by negative 8 is a positive 7. So 7 is less than or equal to k. So 7, drawing a filled in circle because it's equal to, got the line under it. K is bigger, so we shade to the right. Okay, now that last problem, we're going to distribute again. 2x, 2 times x is 2x, 2 times negative 7, negative 14, negative 3 times 1, negative 3, negative 3 times negative 3 is a positive 9x minus 4. These two I can combine, negative 3, negative 4, give us negative 7 plus 9x is greater than 2x minus 14. Can add 7 to both sides. That gives us 21. It's greater than. Subtract 2x from both sides. We get 9 minus 2 is 7x. Divide by 7. We get 3 is greater than x. So, hollow circle at 3. X is smaller, so we shade to the left. So there we go. Now you guys can do the rest of them.